You know
awesome.
what? You know what's interesting? What people don't realize, about me really, and about the company, I really
Yeah.
learned commercial,
Yeah.
but I wasn't able at that moment in time to do commercial, right? Because I was so uh, away from my business, away from analysis. I didn't have the infrastructure. So
Yeah.
what I had was like this pent up education, bubble in me that was dying for an opportunity to go. So as soon as I was in a position, time and capital wise, to do commercial, so people never knew that I was doing commercial because it's not sexy. You don't put it on a TV show, right?
Yeah, exactly. It takes too long. It's a long,
Yeah.
long close periods,
Yeah.
long,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
gestation periods.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, for sure. So look, I spent up
this,
until
because just so you know, this is the closest I'm ever going to get to TV. Okay, on the multifamily side, is
it's
doing this.
overrated. Don't worry about it. You know what's crazy? I bought Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank into our company
Yeah.
for our commercial side.
Yeah.
Bought him on for two reasons. One, the marketing, using the name,
Sure.
but also for his business acumen. Plus, he's in Tampa and the Gulf Coast region where we invest. But I bought him in there, and what the hell am I talking about him? So anyway,
About TV and how TV's
TV.
not real.
And we shot a 20-minute, 25-minute kind of infomercial for our private equity fund that's buying the assets.
Yeah.
And right at that moment in time, one of the producers from A&E that was very close to me, she reached out to me on LinkedIn because she saw some of the noise we were making, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What are you doing?" She said, I will have babies. I got out of TV. I've always stayed close to TV. Babies are bigger, back in TV, looking for the next thing. Are you it? And I'm like, I don't know if I'm it. I'm not trying to get back on TV. This is what we're doing. So we're actually maybe, 3 or 4 conversations in to do a COVID apartment complex series, in the sense of, as you know, the mom and pops who have been operating on a tight dime are going to lose these assets. That's why we're gearing up cash now. And kind of like, Bar Rescue, The Profit and Shark Tank all rolled into one, where we can come in, either buy the assets, partner with them on the assets, help the tenants. Don't go in there and be the asshole landlord who just boots everybody, but, get some good stories.
Give us a good name. You're going to give us a good name, Dave.
I'm going to try, brother. I'm going to try.
Man.
And I'll say it's all because of Charlie Dobbins and his advice he gave me way back when.
Exactly.
So, look, you talk about fan. It's funny.
Hey, if you do that, I want a cameo as the multifamilyattorney.com. I'll come down there, man. I'll fly in on my own plane. How's that?
There you go. Huh? Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Wheels up. We'll rent one. Wheels up. Yeah. But so look, I've always been in commercial, and people just didn't know it, Charlie,
Yeah.
And now with COVID at the turn of the year, the stars aligned perfectly for us. And my chief investment officer, a guy by the name of Walter Novicki, got over 20 years of buying complexes all throughout the Gulf Coast region. So he's already stress tested it.
So are you down there in Florida? Are you down in Florida now?
We got offices in Florida and offices up here in Boston. So I work the Boston market for the snowbirds because of the affinity with Florida and Northeast. So I raise the capital up here in the Northeast. He raises capital a little bit down in Florida, but most of the capital we're bringing in is coming through our connections up in Boston. And then he deploys the capital down there in Florida.
Wow.
So, we're in both states now.
You're looking at down, but you're deploying the capital down in Florida. You're buying down in Florida. That's
primarily. Yeah. So what we did was Walter and I had known each other. It's funny, we actually met through Than Merrill. And Walter, we touched gloves right as COVID was beginning to become a pain in the rear end.
Yeah.
And he said, what are you doing? I said, here's what I'm doing. I'm pulling back. I'm going to take about 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'm going to pivot. Because, I was always in the single family stuff. I was heavy in lending. Wall Street shut down, so the lending shut down. So I was out of that real quick. And I said, he or she who controls the capital from this point forward is going to win the race. Because as well as I do, all the dry powder is like hitting the sidelines right now. There's so much money waiting to go somewhere.
Yeah.
We have a responsibility to find somewhere for it to go, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We created the fund. It's a Regulation D 506C. So it allows me to market. You're going to hear some commercials locally soon.
Cool.
I don't have to do, pre-existing relationships because of the way we structured it.
Right.
A lot of capital went out to build the fund, to build all of the legalities that go along with it.
Yeah.
But, it's the right move. So, it's 100 million, Charlie, 100 million we're raising, baby.
Listen, I'll tell you something, Dave. I'm not kidding you. That's like the number now. It's got to be that size to build a fund. Otherwise, you can't. Because I was talking to a couple of guys out of LA. They just do they do 5 to 15 unit rehabs. Yeah. And they were like, they did their second fund was like $15 million, and they were bumping up against it. They couldn't. I mean,
people aren't interested.
Family offices aren't interested. Too small.
No, correct.
100 million is why he had to go to that size.
Yeah. What's interesting with that is you can now go to the BDs, the brokers. You can go to the registered investment advisors. Yeah. You can get yourself a decent report that you can share with them. Credibility report, for want of a better term. Yeah. So that's the number. And what's crazy is because Walter has such a prominent footprint in that area. Yeah. If you had the ability to write me a check right now for 50 or 100 million, whoever you are, I can spend that in the next 90 days. Yeah. Like that's how much our deal flow is now. It's all inbound instead of outbound. And it's COVID driven. It's COVID driven because they've been operating on such tight margins, and we only buy the 40 to 140 doors, B-class assets, core plus. Turn that little bad boy in 30, 60 days, cash flow. That's it.
I'll tell you something. I got the first phone call, distressed phone call I got just the other day from a guy who's having his multifamily property foreclosed on. Now, I'm telling you right now, I haven't heard of a multifamily property being foreclosed on in the last 10 years. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What the hell? Why is this guy
here?
It's here. But what happened in his case, and you'll appreciate this. He did it all wrong. He did the rehab wrong. He did the repositioning wrong. He didn't start off with enough capital. He ran out of capital. He was trying to do it on current cash flow. That was mistake number one. But here's what happened: is he goes for the 90-day forbearance and gets it. Yeah. And so he's trying to do his regular thing. Okay, great. I kept the boogeyman away for 90 days. And then he heard that you can get another 90 days. Like, it's not guaranteed, but there is another 90 days if you need it. Bank came in and said, no, we're not going to give you another 90 days. We're taking your property back. You're just not there. You're not going to make it. You're out of capital. You're done. And, when a bank hears that you're out of capital, that your business is out of capital, you're out of business.
You have to have reserves. You got to have reserves. You got to.
If you're out of cash, you're out of business. All business requires cash. And you cannot try to run a multifamily property on a shoestring. You've got to have the reserves.
Correct. You've got to get a good CapEx number in place. You got to know how to deploy it. You got to have the verticals for management and construction. Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, people think it's easy.
Hey, Dave. Where did we learn that in back in the old days from the guy that used to taught us? I don't think I ever heard anything like this before.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. There's a book, and then there's application, right? Yeah. I mean, educate, don't speculate is a great little catchphrase that I coined years ago. But just because you're educated, it doesn't mean you know what to do.
Oh, I know.
What I mean? No, it's the lumps and bumps.
Yeah. It's an experience, instinct and experience.
For sure.
And boy, we've learned, we've got the marks to prove it.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so
we do.
So listen, you're killing it. freedomventures.com.
freedomventure.com. You can find us there. We're doing like a weekly deal of the week now. We got so much inventory coming through, so we highlight our deals on Facebook.
Okay.
You can find us there. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So, that's great. So, the plan of the fund is $100 million you're going to deploy. And, if that's going to be a 20% leverage, if that's 80-20 leverage, then, well,
look, it's interesting, right? So we're aligned with Walker Dunlap for finance. So Walker Dunlap has a buy box, and
just so everyone listen, Walker Dunlap is a DUS lender, and they are one of the best in the business. I mean, I've dealt with many DUS lenders. Walker Dunlap's my favorite.
Yeah, they're so solid, and they've
Yep.
got they just repositioned themselves down into the Florida market. So Walter, my chief investment officer, we went in there, sat down with them, and said, you know, what's your go numbers? What do they really look like? What do you want? You know, what's your sweet spot, right? And their buy box aligned perfectly with ours. And they said, if you can show us this buy box, we're aggressive enough to say, you know, your LOIs can start going out at, you know, 35, 40-day close.
Wow.
Which think about that, the speed of execution in this market for that motivated seller. So,
and I mean, you guys can write those LOIs in such a way that you never could have before, not only from the timing standpoint, but from the earnest money,
correct. And when we leverage them out, we're not leveraging any more than 65%.